Welcome viewers to the Personal Injury Law Show. My name's Tony Carbone. I'm a personal injury lawyer of over 25 years experience. With me tonight we've got Don Maffia, a partner in the law firm. Good evening, Don.
Good evening, Tony. Good evening, viewers.
And Anna Hall, an up-and-coming lawyer in the law firm.
Thank you for having me, Tony. Good evening, viewers.
Now tonight, viewers, we've got a number of articles to talk about, but the most pertinent one is the story of the wall that collapsed. Tell us a bit about the facts.
Well, Tony, this is a very unfortunate event. This was a wall that is approximately 3 metres by 15 metres, and it's in Swanston Street in Carlton. Now, the reports are that there was a large gust of wind that has resulted in the whole wall collapsing. Also, we've heard recently that there was timber hoarding that was holding up the wall, and as a result of the wind, the hoarding's taken the wall down, and unfortunately there's been 3 deaths.
Don, this wall has been up there for a long, long time, and there's issues about whether it was braced, which means secured, and there's also questions of who was looking after the wall. The occupier, was the council involved? Quite a few parties. What's your take on the whole story?
Well, I think it was heritage listed, Tony. So the whole wall, which is a red brick wall, was put there. It's been there for many years, but looks like when it was first put up, which was I think in 1960s, 1970s, it was poorly constructed. So it didn't have proper structures and all those things in place. And then the current construction people who are there at the moment actually put the hoarding, which ended up being a little bit higher than the actual wall, and the hoarding acted like a sail, which pushed the wall over. But there's a lot of investigation. There has to be some answers to all these questions that have been asked. Why did it fall in daylight, kill 3 people?
Well, viewers, the most important thing about this whole thing involving the wall is not only about whether someone could be prosecuted from a civil perspective. The real issue here is criminal prosecution. Anna, that's a big issue, isn't it?
Well, certainly, Tony, it is. There's a lot of investigations on foot at the moment. I mean, we've got a discussion about coroner's inquests, police inquiries. There's also WorkSafe involved. As well, I'm sure there's investigations within the company that was building on that side as well. But certainly, I think there's a risk of many different avenues for prosecution here. So I think it's something that's really going to have to pan out before we can speculate on what the outcome's going to be.
Facebook has become a pretty important tool in the fight against young people being killed on the road, Don.
Well, I think the way to get to the younger, and you're talking about the drivers, Tony, young drivers, the way to get to them and pass on the message of safety would be through social media, Facebook, Twitter and things like that. And I believe that TAC have introduced an initiative whereby people who are victims of a road accident can put on their own video, their own take of what they're going through the social media networks.
Anna, in other words, you've got people that have probably lost friends, putting on their own stories about their loved ones that they've lost, their friends, family. Look, this is a great opportunity for viewers to give us their Facebook views about this issue, and also Twitter, our Twitter page, to talk about these issues. Anna, what's your take on the whole thing?
I think this will be a very effective form of advertising because nothing strikes more with the heart than a message from people who have really suffered in this manner.
Someone that's been through it.
And it's peers talking to peers, and that's the most effective message. And I think that the themes they're going with are very realistic themes, and they're things that happen. So I think education from social media is at its best here.
And Don, this is away from their usual attack of just coming down heavy with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, traditionally, you'll see the TAC put on a lot of those ads, Tony, which are hard-hitting ads, accidents, families and all that. This is just another avenue, and we'll try and put up the links from our Facebook page to the TAC website so our viewers can go onto it and have a look at their TAC site. But look, I think it's great. Anything that can just put out the message, be safe on the roads and how it affects people. This is just another avenue, Tony. And
the beauty of this particular campaign is that they're looking at the after effects of deaths.
It's true.
And it probably, I think it would get the heartstrings of people a lot more than, the before.
Absolutely, and for people who are the main users of Facebook and Twitter are the younger generation, I think certainly this is the way to target them in the best way.
Don, a 14-year-old girl gets hit by a truck, mind her own business, in Bridge Road?
I believe so. I think she's just walking along a runaway truck. He loses control, mounts the footpath and hits her and unfortunately kills her. So that's another tragedy on our road. Again, just going back to what we were talking about before, doesn't affect only the people involved, but also their family members, friends, and all that, Tony. So
Plain carelessness. What was it, Anna?
Well, we
Using
don't
a
know.
mobile
We don't
phone.
know at this stage. But a truck has clipped a four-wheel drive and then mounted the curb and struck the girl. She was on her way home from school, so she's walking in broad daylight.
Well, at the moment, we're not quite sure as to what had occurred. I think there's some more investigations going on, and definitely coroner's involved. But at the end of the day, it's just another life that's lost on the road.
All right. Just on that point, there's the Attorney General talking about offenders risk losing their licence. Now, this is an initiative by the Attorney General where he's saying that if you're road rage or if you're that careless on the road or things similar to that, judges have got the wide discretion to take your licence off you. What do you think, Anna?
I'm not sure about this, Tony. I think that road penalties should be kept to road offences. So I think it would be an unfortunate situation if someone who is involved in a very separate issue loses their licence after, say, a brawl or something, because if you take away their licence, that's taking away livelihoods, that's taking away opportunity to work. So I'm not sure about the wide breadth of this legislation.
Well, Don, getting back to the 14-year-old girl that lost her life, what if the driver was under the influence of something or if he was careless on a mobile phone? Why shouldn't the judge, hearing the case, have the discretion to take his licence off him?
I think in those circumstances, that is one of the sanctions that the court can allow or impose. The problem with the legislation as it is at the moment before Parliament is that it's not clear, and it's not clear that it only applies to these sort of road incidents. It is wide enough to involve, Tony, if you go into a store, you drive to the store, you steal something, you go back to your car, you get charged with theft, you can still be imposed with the sanction of losing your licence. So it's broad enough to capture even if you assaulted someone, got nothing to do with the vehicle, a sanction is losing your licence.
Don, surely you've got to give the judges some sort of discretion, and I would have thought if it involves something on the road, a road rage, or someone being that careless, why shouldn't they lose their licence?
Well, that's where Parliament has to be clear, and it's not clear at the moment. It's just broad enough to involve any of those incidents, Tony. You can just do any criminal offences, you lose your licence.
We'll come back to this in the future, viewers, because it's going to unravel when the Attorney General does pass the laws. Viewers, give us your Facebook and Twitter comments, and also stay tuned. We've got to go to a sponsors break. Thank you.